Hello and welcome to Briefly Everything. I'm Felix and, well, this is Briefly Everything. We'll tell you about history, but on a timeline, so it makes sense. Now, in the previous episode, it was an excellent one and we talked about the Vedas, which is what gave birth to much of Indian culture and tradition today. Another part we didn't mention there, however, is how it also gave us religion, Hinduism more specifically. So the Vedas was a collection of books, and in this collection you have the first ever mention of the caste system in history. So today I'll go through how Hinduism originated and a crash course of its important concepts. So the Vedas showed us a stratified social structure, and starting at the top we have the Brahmins, the priests, the scholars and the teachers. Moving on to the second step of this ladder here, we have the Kshatriyas, kings and the warriors. Then the Vaishyas, the farmers, merchants and artisans. Then you have the Shudras, which would be the laborers. Then number 5 on the list, which is sometimes not even mentioned, the Akuts, sorry for that butchered pronunciation, or the Dalits. So this last caste usually just goes under the name The Untouchables. No, that is not a movie title, that's just how the poor ones were named. Traditionally, these people were discriminated against. They couldn't enter temples or even touch those from other castes. Now this all sounds quite harsh, I'd say, but in modern India, the caste system is much more viewed as a part of their tradition, not to be taken very seriously, and a part of their culture that they're not very proud of simply. However, in rural areas, many still take this very seriously, unfortunately. And in more recent times, the untouchable castes have been more likely to convert to Islam or Christianity as a way to escape this prejudice. But that's jumping forward in time a little bit too much here. At this point, we're so early in history, we still have 1,000 years to go before Buddhism even enters history. In one of the Vedas, they describe how they divide one of their gods, Brahma, according to representations. The different parts were mouth, which would correspond to Brahmins. 2 arms were made into Kshatriyas, 2 thighs, the Vaisyas, 2 feet, the Shudras. Each body part here representing a position in society. Mouth would be the priests who would talk to the gods. Arms, obviously, the warriors with their biceps. Then it's the thighs, the merchants. Then you've got the feet, which would represent the laborers. This is a foundation now of all of Hinduism, and I'd like to briefly cover the rest of it in this episode. So here's another concept for you. Dharma. Living your dharma means living in the position you were born into. If you're a warrior, you fight, even if you're bad at it. If you're a Kshatriya, for instance, it's better to be a bad warrior than to be the world's best farmer. So just stick to that fighting, would you? So why would you do this then? Well, one upside is social cohesion. You always know how many farmers to warriors you'll have, as opposed to now, where we have a lack of mechanical engineers and a surplus of, people who want to become famous by taking selfies. Guys, I wish we had a part of the caste system for that, because I'd be so good at it. So on to the next concept, samsara, the recycle of birth, or simply called reincarnation. Rebirth, I guess. The basic idea is that when you die, your soul is transferred to another living, as it is being born, and you fulfill your dharma when you get reborn into a higher being. But the ultimate goal is to be released from the wheel of reincarnation completely, and that release is called moksha. So now we've covered a few new terms, the caste system, the stratified social system, the reincarnation, but we have not talked about Hindu gods too much at all. Well, not in this episode at least. Hinduism has a pantheon of gods, 33 million different gods actually to be specific here. So I'm sure you won't object to me just focusing on the main ones for now. So looking at the 3 most popular gods, we start off our list with Shiva, the destroyer, but also called the transformer. Don't worry though, we have no Decepticon gods in Hinduism. Then you have Vishnu, the preserver. Then you've got Brahma, the creator of, well, basically everything. No wonder he's the god of creation. Do you remember the different body parts that corresponded to divisions in society? Well, it's believed those body parts were actually taken from this very guy, Brahma. Note here that Hinduism is like a larger religion with a lot of religious subsets, because each of these gods actually have their own following. So many would follow Shiva, which would be called Shivaism, or they would follow Vishnu, called Vishnaism. Brahma, in this case, being the least popular out of these 3 guys. There are plenty more gods, but suffice to say, depending on the region you're in, you'll believe in different deities. On a note of gender equality, Indian gods can actually both be male and female. Now, the difference between believing in one god over the other in Hinduism is probably more distinct than that of being, say, Catholic or Protestant or Sunni or Shia in Islam. But here's the thing, Indians don't really mind it. You don't see a lot of conflict between the different followers, and this is also representative of the religion as a whole. It lets there be many interpretations as to which way is the right way. Now, Hinduism is quite unique because it's probably the oldest religion we have, though we don't know when it started specifically, and it's had many gods over time. But then it wasn't actually known as Hinduism. A vague reference, I'd say, as to the start of Hinduism would be along with the Vedic period in 1500 BCE. And what Hinduism has done is unite all the diverse religions that had resided in India over thousands of years. And instead of saying this is the one only way, they essentially just merged them all and called it Hinduism. Now, that is a little crash course in Hinduism. Keep this in mind now, for in about 1,000 years we'll see how it evolves into another branch called Buddhism. Oh, how very exciting, no? Thank you very much for watching, and let me know if you have any thoughts or if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, please I guess don't let me know. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in another episode. Bye bye.